Hi, and welcome to another episode of Armchair Pundits. We're back this week, and this week we are going to just cover our FA Cup games and just your view on the FA Cup and the format change possibly and no replays. So over to Leon to discuss what, in my eyes, was quite a boring game personally. I'm glad we're through to the next round, but it's dry.
Boy, well, are we after who we've got in the next round? I mean,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
to be honest, not.
Your record,
Yeah,
your
our
record's
record
good
well
though
against
against them.
City, yeah,
Well,
but
home at
no,
least.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, poor game, but we got the result. I expected a little bit more, more of a open game because I thought Burnley would have come out a little bit more,
Yeah, that
than they
surprised me as
did.
well.
I mean, I guess maybe companies starting to realize that he can't play this open, expansive way that he wants his team to play all the time, and they have to kind of make changes because they need to get points. Obviously, this was a cup game, so it didn't matter for the league, but for them, I guess it doesn't matter about them getting knocked out. I'm sure they much rather survival. But a fantastic goal from Pedro Porro. He's had a really good season this season. The jury was out on him last season, but coming in January, it's very difficult for players to settle in during that time. And when you're coming into a team that's struggling and in turmoil with all of the managerial changes, I'm not surprised that he struggled. But since Ange's come in, he's just looks like a completely different player. There was times defensively where he looked a bit dodgy, but I felt that this season he's held his own, by and large. And considering how much he gets forward and has input in to our attack, been pleasantly surprised by his improvement. So great goal by him, and yeah, through to the next round, City to come. So we'll have to see how we deal with that. But yeah, at least we're through because we need a trophy, man. We need a trophy.
Well, yeah, Poro's goal probably the highlight of the match for me. Other than that, not really much to cover really. We didn't really create much. I think it's the first sign that we are going to struggle without Son, and that we're going to have to do something in January just to tire us over and cover. And it looks like there's obviously plans for that, but we'll see how that pans out. I was surprised by Burnley that they didn't really, like you said, attack us more. I thought because it was a cup game and not a league game that they might come out more expensive, but they didn't really. Although they still continue to try and play it out of the back, so it's a bit of both really. They didn't really attack, but they're still trying to play their style of football. And maybe maybe they're trying to hit us on the counter, but I think we dealt with them quite well defensively. Emerson and Davis had really good games. And apart from at the end, where there's a few lapses, a few concentrational mishaps at the end, but when that was once substitutions were made. Other than that, I think it was rather in control. We just wasn't creating enough and taking the chances. We're trying to do too much final thirds, additional passes which weren't necessary rather than taking shots. But like you said, we'll take it through to the next round. It's a home game. Record is good against City, like James said, but if you want to win the cup, you've got to go through all the best teams, and we might as well get it out of the way now. And if we can beat City, then that puts us in a better place to try and win it. So that's what we're gonna have to go and do, really. But overall, I'll take the victory, but wasn't really the kind of game that we've come accustomed to from us this year, even with the injuries. But we'll take it and we'll run on to the next round. And over to James.
Does this did this show you what his thoughts are or what level Ashley Phillips is at? Because I would have thought playing team bottom of the league, you could probably afford to just drop in Ashley Phillips, give him some experience playing centre back, or even obviously the game wasn't finished, so you couldn't bring him off the bench later on in the game. But I don't know. I thought he might start him.
Well, I think.
But I guess with Van der Ven back.
No, I was going to say. I think.
Hello.
I think in in that kind of game, you can't bring him on later on in the game. You don't try and make those defensive changes towards the end of the game. I think because of the way we went out to Fulham in the Carabao Cup, I don't think Andrew's looking to try and make those mistakes again. Because this is the last competition realistically we can look at winning. So I think he just went with his strongest team. And again, we don't play a Premier League game for 2 weeks, providing you make sure you get through. You've got enough ample time to rest players. So I just think he just went with the strongest team to try and make sure we progress to the next round, personally. And obviously now it's come to light, obviously, that Ashley Phillips is going to go on loan to get games. So yeah, he's gone to Plymouth for the rest of the season. So fair play to him. He'll get some game time. And I just think it's a case that it's too much to risk flooding him in that game.
He didn't cup time either, or does he actually get on, or does he get cup tied because he was on the bench? Because they got Leeds next round.
I don't think he get cup time unless you play.
Yeah, it's only if you play. And the other thing is that the kid has only played 14 professional games. So for him to come to be played in a Premier League game, I mean, you've seen in all of the matches that we've played, he's been and where he's been on the bench, he's never looked likely to come on at any stage. Like we brought on other guys to fill in that spot. We played Dyer, who clearly Ange doesn't really feel fits into his plans because he's played 4 fullbacks in the back line rather than fitting Dyer in, unless one of the fullbacks who playing centre back gets injured. So I think it's good for him. He needs more game time. He's one for the future. He's I think he's 18. Still, he's still got time to develop. And for the most part, most young centre backs need to play games, especially in the Championship where it's a bit rough. You get to deal with the physical side of it, and he'll ply his trade a bit more for at least half of the season. So we'll see what happens.
And how are you feeling? I saw there's a lot of talk on Johnson, amount of misses he went through the game, just not being quite there yet. Do you think it's come a bit early?
No.
Start wise.
I mean, let's be honest. We knew this signing he wasn't going to hit the ground running. We've seen even for Forest. Yeah, like he wasn't. He scored some really, really important goals for them last season, but you wouldn't say that he was clinical for them. He wasn't clinical in the Championship. Like I think Ange very much sees him as a work in progress. He's 21, 22. I think he's 22. He's still got time to become much better, and the fact that Ange believes in him and believes that he can get better, I think is good for us. I think one thing I would say about him is that he's involved in things. Like there's a lot of players that when things aren't necessarily going their way, they hide. But he's had assists. He's played. I think he's had two assists in recent games, especially for Richarlison, I think, against Everton. And to me, I feel like he needs time. I don't think he's ever gonna be a prolific striker. But if you look at all of our attacking players, they all need chances, man. They all need chances, and the fact that we create enough chances is a good thing. So, when having another Harry Kane in the next 10 years is very, very unlikely. So it took us long enough to get him, and to me, we're going to rely on goals coming from multiple different areas, and we've done that so far this season. So I think that's the way Ange looks at it. It's a team responsibility rather than one player.
Yeah, I don't think.
So last one.
Ange is.
Doesn't have to be.
I don't think Ange is too worried about the whole finishing from him. He's more emphasised his importance of him being involved in creating chances and being either on the end of chances or delivering the chances. I think that's more what it's about. The finishing will come as a period of time. One thing I will say about Johnson currently, he's enjoying his football. He's enjoying being at the club. He's happy. Like Leon said, he keeps going, keeps getting involved. And as long as you're doing that, you're only going to progress and you're only going to get better, especially as they get more accustomed to the style of play and gets more embedded into the team. So it will come, but like Leon said, I don't think it was ever going to be an instant impact, and that he's going to come and fire loads of goals and make us feel better about losing Kane's input to the team. So it will come.
Okay, quick answers. Quick answers. Timo Werner, if we sign him, are you happy, Leon? Or are you?
I'm not excited about it, but I can see why we're buying him. That's my short answer. I can see why Ange wants him, but to me, he fits in exactly in the same mold as all the other strikers we have. They're not prolific, apart from Son, but he's a problem. He causes problems because he's a very direct player, and that's what Ange likes.
Daryl?
For me, like Leon said, I'm not excited. Ex-Chelsea, but we've been down that road before. I do like the fact that obviously he's got pace. I do like the fact that he is different from the other forwards that we have in the team. He will pop a shot more than the others and be more direct with his shooting. So that is a benefit. But other than that, we'll see what comes. One thing I'll say is if he's embraced by Ange and Ange wants him and he brings him along, builds his confidence, who knows what he could be. If he can get his confidence up, start smashing in goals, then it could be a monster. We remember the Timo Werner that was Timo Werner before he went to Chelsea, and just like we remember the Torres before he went to Chelsea. So you never know what could happen. If we get that confidence back and get him back,
cool.
then yeah, we'll see. It'd be our benefit. But it's a forward. It's going to help out the team. And like Leon said, I like the fact that he plays direct. It's going to be different from the others, and he's got pace. So I'll take that.
Okay.
So
I will talk about the Man City game, but we've done enough talking of Tottenham. Go on then.
Well, let's go to your game because it's probably one of the most entertaining games of the FA Cup this weekend. And after a barrage for the first 30 minutes where Arsenal should have been out of sight, you guys came through. So how was you feeling in those first 30 minutes, James? And I'm sure you're obviously delighted with the result and the draw.
Powder puff. That's what it was, bruv.
What are you saying? Arsenal's attack is power puff.
Bruv, that's what it is.
Puff, Wow.
That's what it is, bruv.
You gotta have to try one of those powder puff flipping animations or something for that, boy. Powder puff, yeah. Jeez.
Bruv, when it comes down to it, I think I asked you before we started recording. Name the saves that Alisson made. That you sat there and you thought, "Ooh, that's a great save," or bro, there was the shot from what's his name, the right back, forget his name now, Ben White, that he easily put over the crossbar. There was the crossbar miss, but it's a crossbar miss. Havertz had bag of chances, but we know Havertz isn't the same guy that he was after he's been living off the winning goal from the Champions League. So Arsenal came at us strong. There's no denying that. And could they have, if they had a finisher, could they have put us away? Yeah. But because they don't have a finisher, you're not as worried as I would be.
So you
if they had one
in that first 30 minutes, you wasn't worried. In that first 30 minutes, you wasn't worried at all. The amount of chances they was getting.
No, listen. I was worried. I was worried that they would score, but if they scored, then I'd be more worried. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. When they score, then you get really worried. But until they score, they're not doing anything. Really and truly, they're playing a lot of good football and they're putting a lot of pressure on. But because they didn't score, and it was never really a case where it was like, oh man, that was so close, that it didn't really make me feel too worried.
They were close though.
Because I've said this over and over again.
They were close because
they were close.
There's in positions they should have scored in, James. So there's in positions that they should have scored and they didn't. So It's wasteful and poor finishing.
But like I said, if they had scored one, if they had scored one, I'd be worried. But I've said this to you through the season. To beat Liverpool this season, you got to do a lot. And the amount of times we've come back more than anyone else in the Premier League from goals down, you got to score more than one goal if you're going to beat us. Sorry, that's how it's going to be. So again, if they had scored early and carried on that pressure, yeah, I would have been shook. But the more they wasted the opportunities, because you've got to give Arteta credit. Klopp said himself, he surprised him. When he came with the 4-2-2-2 business, our players didn't know what to do. And it took until half-time for Klopp. In fact, even before that, because everyone's saying, oh, they hit this, that, they hit the crossbar. We hit the crossbar as well. Trent's shot hit the crossbar, so it was just as dangerous as Odegaard's shot. So before the half ended, we got a foothold in the game. And then I knew from the half-time, Klopp ain't going to let this lay down like that. It was similar to the first game. When they played us at Anfield, they should have been more than 1-0 up from opportunities. Remember I said at Anfield?
Yeah.
After they scored their goal, not another shot on target, Anfield. They scored the goal in the 4th minute. It was almost like it was a repeat of that game. This time, as I said to you then, if we had Jota, we win that game. We had Jota. So I was sitting there thinking, when Jota comes on, if this is 1-0 or 0-0, then we're going to win this game. Lo and behold, unfortunately for them, I'm not sure why. Personally, I'm not sure why Ramsdale was getting noise about the own goal. Give your heads it past him. It's so quick. I'm not sure what Ramsdale could have done, in all honesty. Some people are saying he could have stayed on his line, he would have saved it. I said ifs, buts, and maybes. End of the day, a defender put his head there and scored an own goal. Great ball from Trent.
Delivery was great.
As you expect. Great ball from Trent. And then to kill it off, you've got Luis Diaz paying homage to Firmino, scoring no look goals in the top bins, bruv. So could Arsenal have won the game? Yes. Did Arsenal deserve to win the game? All this, we deserve to. No, they didn't deserve to win the game. You have to. It's like me saying we deserve to win against Man United. We didn't deserve to win against Man United because we didn't take our chances. So Arsenal didn't deserve to beat us because they were at home and they could not score. They couldn't score. So we took our chances, and at the end of the day, we won the game. Did we play well? First half, hell no. Second half, yes. And the game is not even 90 minutes now. With all this VAR business, the game is 100 minutes, bro. And at the moment, no one plays the 100 minutes better than we do in England.
Yeah, fair play.
Long may that continue.
So you say you...
Long may that continue. The managers even come out and say we're the best team in England. In Europe, sorry. I know that's tongue-in-cheek because he's trying to say we lost. But he's acknowledging what he's up against. I know he's got a fear factor of us. But yeah, sorry, I interrupted you.
I'm saying...
You're muted, Leon. You're on mute, Leon.
You say you weren't worried, yeah, James. But wasn't you worried that the way that there's been able to create these chances so often and so consistently, although they weren't taking them, was and why did John not start? You've said before that he's a difference maker.
Because we can't risk him, bro. We can't risk him, man. Man just come out from injury, and we know Salah's gone. Our next best goal scorer is Jota. So we can't just throw him 90 minutes. Bro, I said to you from before, I didn't think we were going to win this game. Because Arsenal had lost 2 games in a row. And I was thinking there's no way they're going to lose 3 games in a row. We weren't going to have Salah. We weren't going to have Endo, who's done really well for us in terms of solidifying our midfield. And I honestly thought we were going to rotate even more. So I didn't think we were going to go as strong as we did. So beforehand, I wasn't thinking that. Thinking we got Fulham. We got Fulham in the semi-final. We need to win that game. That was a priority out of the 2 games for me. So if we had lost that game, obviously I don't want to lose. But I wasn't going to be. I wouldn't have been as. Oh man, I hate losing to Arsenal, but I could stomach it if we beat Fulham and we do that job. So was I worried? Of course you're going to be worried, but at the same time, we got both our left backs out. Van Dijk was sick, so Quansah, shout out to Quansah, because at 20 years old, he's killing it.
Mm.
He's killing it when he plays.
Canate,
I can't sit there and say he's had it. There's not one time I can say he's had a good game.
played well as well, though.
Again, bruv, they've had the head-to-head. Listen, at Anfield, they gave Saliba the man of the match. I didn't think Saliba was man of the match, but Saliba is graceful. Saliba looks like this. Saliba looks nice on the ball, etc., etc. So you're gonna get your flowers more. Like Van Dijk gets. It's true though. Van Dijk got extra flowers because how aesthetically pleasing he looked as a centre back.
Mm.
If he didn't look so smooth, then he wouldn't have had the same amount of shouts that were about him. And Saliba gets that, but personally, the only difference between the two of them, Konate and Saliba, is the injury record and the gracefulness.
Mm.
But the gracefulness doesn't make you a better centre back; it just makes you look better. But straight up defending, there isn't anything between them, in my opinion, in actually stopping players getting past them. So people will cuss and say, Konate done nothing. He's cumbersome. He's this, that, and his other. He's not cumbersome.
He had a good game. He had a good game.
Deserved man of the match, and Quansah wasn't far behind him. When Quansah went down, I was worried. I was thinking, "Nah, come on, man, can't have another centre back." He rolled his ankle, hoping it's not swelled up like a balloon today, and he's all good. Because obviously, with Virgil being sick, you never know. But I've rambled on a long time. I'm happy. End of the day, we got through to the next round, and Norwich or Bristol Rovers next. I can't argue with that. Well. I honestly thought we'll get one of the top boys again. Yeah, at home, so we can rotate again. With a lot of top boys missing, we can rotate, which is always a good. It's always a positive. And I said to you too.
That's the last weekend in. That's the last weekend in January for those fixtures, isn't it?
And we've got Chelsea. We've got Chelsea.
Well,
and
even this game, even at 0-0, you brought on two youngsters as well. You know, so Klopp's confident. He's confident.
Listen, the youngsters. Lee Clark's son, he played a lot of minutes in preseason and he looked good, but he got injured early. Both of them got injured. To be honest with you, if they hadn't got injured, they would have played a lot of Europa League minutes. Like we've actually been quite lucky because Conor Bradley got injured, which meant Gomez, who was technically ahead of him anyway, but he played even more games as a right back, which brought his form on. Now Gomez has been really, really good for me this season, and because of that, he hasn't been playing centre back, which has meant we've been playing Quansah. So Quansah's now come out of nowhere and shown himself because Conor Bradley, who I think is a good young right back, and he showed it when he came on. Defensively, he'd actually look better than Trent, and he's actually an attacking right back. He's no Trent going forward, but he's a good young attacking right back. So his injury has actually helped us with Blood get form back for Gomez and Blood on Quansah, and now he's come back to help us with the second half of the season, and hopefully he can improve on the good performance he had yesterday. But again, I'm happy. We don't have a massive game a massive team to play before Chelsea, and we can build towards that, and we win. End of the day, would I prefer? One thing I will say, if I had to choose to win this game or to win the one in the league, I'll take the one in the league. So I'm not counting my chickens. There's no all because we won today doesn't mean when we go there in the league it's easy peasy. I'm still expecting that game to be as tough as anything. But we've hopefully put doubt, laid a seed of doubt in their mind, because Saka's come up against Gomez twice, and if you ask me, Gomez has got the better from both times over the 90 minutes. First half, maybe not. There was a few shaky minutes for the defence because they were new as a unit. But by the end of the game, I've seen Arsenal fans saying Saka should have been subbed and he needs to get a rest. So hopefully he doesn't get too much of a rest and come back rejuvenated against us.
Maybe.
And he keeps the new haircut.
Maybe needs protection from the league. That's what the club's been asking for, isn't it?
Ah, man. It's not even the most fouled. AU gets fouled more. And I think, was it Joe Linton or someone else? It might not be Joe Linton, but AU and someone else. It's Gemresh, yeah. they get fouled more than
but
he does. But
but
listen,
some will say that their men
they're
are
combative.
antagonistic.
Combat.
Yeah, them men are fouling and getting
Listen,
fouled.
if
Yeah, bro, they're definitely in the top 20 fouls
Yeah,
committed and fouled the
as-
most.
uh,
So, boy,
yeah,
it's true, but he's like Grealish. If you he's
he
unfortunately his style
initiates
of play
contact.
is to
Yeah,
last
yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he often initiates it and he passes it at last minute. You're gonna
Mhm.
get fouled. You're gonna get
Mm.
fouled. Like Salah used to do that at one point. He used to pass it last minute, and then people used to call him a diver. But because he dived along with it, it was even worse. Now he stopped diving as much. Then he still gets a lot of fouls as well. Does Saka get fouled a lot in harsh fouls? Yeah, but it's something he's have to just get stronger with. Unfortunately, it's the credit you get from being as good as
He's
you
actually
are.
going to have to develop a little bit of a nasty streak to protect himself, because that's what all the top players have had to do in their careers anyway. Like,
yeah, boy.
so many times you've had to see them.
You come to international tournaments. You're gonna expect that them men are gonna check that record and see how you've been going on, and they're gonna take you out when they can and leave their foot in when they can. So he's gonna have to do something
Yeah,
to like you said, develop a little bit of nasty streak to protect himself, because otherwise them men are gonna just look at him and prey on him as a weakness and just chop him up, bruv. Like imagine England against Argentina. I can imagine what Romero would be doing, bro. So it is what it is.
look what Chiellini did to him. You still they've still got that gift of man
Well,
man yanking him
well,
back, bro.
Clearly brought back Savory that day, boy. Flipping
Yeah,
hell. Like, where you think you're going,
trust me,
boy?
bro.
Come back here.
Uh,
All
so
right. So anyway,
we
we'll move
move.
on to now the FA Cup.
Apologies. I spoke a lot about
It's all right,
Liverpool.
bro.
Did
You give them their flowers, bro. Give them their flowers. It's all right. Um, a lot of people have been talking this weekend about the changing the format of the FA Cup and getting rid of replays. But obviously, we've had our discussions amongst ourselves and we have our views and stuff like that. But you know, for the viewers and stuff, what's your opinions on the format change possibly for the FA Cup? Do you think replay should be scrapped? Do you think possibly a different way of making the FA Cup a bit more exciting and less tenuous in terms of fixtures for the Premier League teams? Because really, that's what it's about. It's the Premier League
yeah,
teams that are the ones that are moaning.
yeah. Of course, it is. It's because there's so much money in the Premier League that has basically been the thing that's basically taken over English football. Really, you have to say it like that. It's taken over English football, and it's made the FA Cup not seem as important. For me, I don't think you can get rid of replays without making the FA Cup beneficial for the smaller teams. Because the one thing that made the FA Cup special was the element of the possibility of a giant killing, the element of anyone could face anyone, and you know, it was it's those things that you look forward to, for especially for a professional that will never ever get to the level of Premier League. They get the opportunity to play against someone in the Championship, someone in the Premier League, someone in League One from non-league, which might only
Mm.
happen once in your career, and that's what makes it quite special. There's a lot of other national competitions in other countries where the non-league teams don't even get to play against the professional ones. So that's what makes the FA Cup special. But I don't think you can actually get rid of replays without maybe changing it. So making it seeded. So some of obviously all the Premier League teams and some of the Championship teams, because I think in the third round, there's 64 teams. So you've got the 44.
Why some?
Say that again.
Why some Championship? Why
Only
some Championship?
because, well, you can't make them all seeded because there's not enough teams from League One, League Two, or non-league to make up the rest of the numbers. So you have to make some of them seeded, where all of the League One and below teams get a home draw against one of the Championship teams or Premier League teams in the third round. That's how I think you could change the format to make it beneficial for them. Obviously, some clubs may be like, we want the big day out. We want to go to Old Trafford. We want to go to to
Mm.
Emirates or to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or whatever. They might want that, but I think
Or Anfield.
or Anfield, of course, sorry, but yeah, they may want that day out. So I think that's got to be factored in, or maybe there needs to be some kind of discussion between the FA and the clubs to work out whether it would be better for them to be at home or to be away. But
Yeah,
I just think seedings will make it better for the lower teams to have the opportunity to play a big team, and then for the other rounds beyond that, then you decide how you wanna go on beyond the third and fourth rounds, because those are the two rounds where mostly the smaller clubs are in. So
maybe yeah.
But would that solve the long-term issue though? Because right, cool, that happens, but then next round everyone draws. You still got replays.
no, I'm saying get rid of replays as long as the lower league teams.
Oh,
Yeah, as long as there's
Okay,
seedings where they get the opportunity to play a big club. Because, like, obviously,
fair enough.
the third round is very random. So, Liverpool and Arsenal are playing each other. But let's be honest, most people, for entertainment purposes, would have rather seen that later on in the competition. Let's be honest. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So for TV, it's
semi-final.
obviously good for BBC to have that kind of game, or ITV to have that kind of game early. But realistically, you want it later. So having the lower clubs have the opportunity to play a big club, and then maybe after the fifth round, then it's whatever. Anyone can draw anyone after the fifth round, because for the likelihood of most of those small teams getting through is slim. But also, you might not have as many random teams getting further like they used to. Like we had Chesterfield in the semi-finals and back in the day. That kind of thing may not ever happen again if you do change the seeding. So it's difficult, but I think seeding is better than having replays.
See, now seeding to a certain extent then kind of strengthens, like you said, the fact that you're going to have stronger teams consistently to the end of the competition. You're not going to get the finals with Millwall's in the final and stuff like that, and Wigan's in the final. So you might take that away from them. I like your idea of seeding it, and I think maybe give them a chance, give them the option. Like, give them the options. Like, do you want the commercial revenue from the television rights to play at home? Because some of that money is keeping some of these clubs afloat in the cup. And if you take away that chance of a money by they get a good draw at home, and they don't get the money for the second match in the replay, or vice versa, that's got to be addressed, because some of these clubs are surviving on good FA Cup runs, and it sets them up for further seasons. Yeah, Oldham. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe they get a chance to choose. Do you want a big day out, or do you want the chance of a giant killing, bring them to your home ground on the kind of pitch that they don't want to be playing on and stuff like that, and then they can make that decision themselves, I guess. But then would be that board members be making that choice rather than managers and players? Do you know what I mean? They'll have to do some work around it. But
would there be any sense in the smaller team, even if they were to play at Old Trafford, say, or Anfield, or the Lane? Would there be any cause for the smaller team getting a bigger chunk of the money?
Depends on how greedy the big clubs are going to be in it. Because let's be honest, that's where it boils down to. They're gonna give away money. I doubt it, mate.
Levy ain't giving out that money, bro. Levy ain't giving out that money straight. Nah.
Bro, I ain't just Levy, man. Like, we know that he's about them books, but like, let's be honest, most chairmen are about that paper, man. That's why they're in it. They're in it for that paper. So I can't see it happening. That's why you gotta make it fair.
Levy will be making phone calls, going to these small clubs saying, look, I'll tell you what, yeah? Come have the big day at our ground. Come and have the big day at our ground. Don't worry. It's all right. We'll throw you a nice little loan player your way. We'll sort you out. Because he knows he's banking millions when it comes to a match day revenue, bro. Trust me. So, yeah, they're not gonna give away any of that money, James. That's not gonna happen.
I think what's probably going to end up happening is what they're doing now. These early stages, you have replays, and then later on they'll scrap it. I think that's what they've done this season already. Later on in the
Yeah, I think
tournament,
that's
there's
normal.
no
Like,
replays.
especially the sixth round, the quarterfinal and the semi-final. There's definitely no replays. I know that for sure.
Well, while
Okay,
we're on it
well,
though, if they're gonna do that and they're gonna make this much effort into that, like, let's stop funding the national stadium and take the semi-finals away from Wembley, because
Bruh,
this
they
this
haven't made
semi-final,
that £1 billion back, bro.
it's too
They
bad,
ain't
bro.
made that money back yet.
Bro, like, I'm telling you now, these semi-finals, and I'll speak personally as a Tottenham fan, it's hurtful keep going to Wembley and losing semi-finals to Chelsea a lot of the time as well, as you know. Um, it takes away the magic from the final for me. You've already
it
got
does.
to Wembley, and even for some of the lower clubs getting to the semi-final and playing at Wembley, that's amazing for them. But really, that should be saved for the final. You wanna get to Wembley. Back in the day, you wanna get to those golden arches. You got to get to the final. Now this playing games semi-final in London. I think last year we had two London club, two Manchester clubs at Wembley. That doesn't need to happen. The travelling, we're talking about global economics and stuff
That
like
was the
that.
final, to be fair, though.
Yeah,
That was the final,
but
though.
yeah, I
Was
But
think
they
it?
that
had
was
to
the
both
final.
had to play in
But
the semis, didn't they? At
yeah,
Wembley to get to the final.
Yeah.
so
So
it's,
yeah, I
it's
hear that. I guess it makes more sense to do that now that most of the stadiums have bigger capacities than they did back in the day. Because obviously, when it was at like Villa Park and Hillsborough, there was a big difference. A lot of people couldn't even go to the semi-final because those stadiums were quite small in
but
capacity in
what's
comparison.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
like
guess it makes sense.
like for me in those situations, like if you've got a semi-final and it's two clubs from the Midlands or from further up north, let them play at Villa Park. Let them play at um, Anfield. Obviously, the home teams can't play in their stadiums, but let them play at a stadium
Mm.
that means the fans have to travel less, especially with these strikes and these train problems. I think Newcastle got screwed last year
Mm.
with train issues for one of their
Yeah.
matches. Like, it makes sense to just like say, all right, the finals in Wembley. Everyone knows you have to commit to that day. It's already expensive enough to go to football, as we know. Like, people are having to come down, they're having to spend money on the hotels to stay because the journey and the traveling, the problems of the train and the commuting, you know, driving, diesels, crazy prices and stuff like that. Now, like, I think that if they're going to make changes to the FA Cup, they need to start looking at other things like that, for example, to benefit fans. For me personally, because I think it's ridiculous that you can have two teams from Manchester and all their fan base have to come down to Wembley for a semi-final and deal with all that commitment to those costs, and also a 90,000 seat stadium, and they're only getting 30,000 for each team. Where's the other 30,000 going as well?
Yeah, no, that's a joke.
So they
Corporate,
want to
mate.
talk about
Corporate.
they want to make changes to the FA Cup to benefit for financial gains. What about the fans? Let's start thinking about the fans as well.
Get the fans watch
Yeah,
it.
make sense. Make their journeys, make their lives easier, make it cost effective for them. So anyway, that's my little rant.
Can tell. On that note,
That's a fair point. Yeah. On that note, over to you, Daryl.
Well, thank you all for joining in and listening and watching the Armchair Pundit podcast. This has been the FA Cup episode. We just covered our teams, covered obviously our views on the FA Cup, the upcoming changes, ideas we have, our thoughts. Put your thoughts and your comments in the comment section below. Interact, get involved, and we'll answer any questions you have, and we'll respond to any comments that you think. And yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell your friends all about it, get involved, and we'll see you on the next episode of Armchair Pundits next week. See you later, guys.
thank you. Take care.
Cool.
Peace
Peace
out.
out.